Hey folks, I'm Donnie from the CAD Geek, and if you follow me over on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Instagram, you may have seen my post the other day where I shared a quote from Dwight Eisenhower. That quote read, "Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it." And when I came across this quote, and the very thing that sort of inspired me to share it was I immediately began thinking about this in the context of CAD management. In fact, I think it could also be said that the art of being an effective CAD manager is leading others to want to follow standards. Now, I asked you your thoughts around this concept, and today I wanted to offer my own around it as well. So as we begin sort of diving into this topic, I think one of the first questions that we have to very honestly ask of ourselves is, what value do the standards offer my end users? Now, one of the very common sort of concepts that come up in the context of standardization is oftentimes things like ROI, or return on investment. However, almost all of those conversations are focused on selling the idea and promise of standardization to management. And while that's an absolutely critical thing to do, what we're talking about here is more about I've developed the standards and I'm trying to get end users to actually use them. And this is where I think we have to ask, what is the ROI of the firm's standards in the eyes of the users? And this is sort of a question with a difficult answer to it. What I find is there's really two segments of an answer to this question. The first is the short-term ROI, and the second is the long-term ROI. And what I find is when we ask this question, we almost always gravitate towards long-term ROI. My answers are often things like, well, once people finally follow the file naming convention, we will no longer have the layout Rev 1, layout Rev 2, layout Rev 1 final, and layout Donnie. We'll have layout and everyone will know what to do with it. But how do I get to the point where we can have just the layout and we can actually realize that long-term ROI? I'm not going to get there unless I first define and structure a short-term ROI. Put another way, the currency of end users is time. And quite frankly, unless the standards, and more specifically the way the standards are implemented, unless they save time in the here and now, the chances of you ever leading your team to actually want to follow the standards is slim to none. You'll never actually get to the point where you're seeing those long-term ROIs of plots being consistent or having files named the right thing. We have to start with the baby steps. And this is sort of one of those very challenging ones, and it will take different shapes within different organizations. But I think the secret here is to very honestly ask and answer this question in the context of short-term ROI and long-term ROI. So building upon this idea, a successful standard is defined not only in the way that you represent it to management, but I think more importantly, the way you represent it to end users. And that sort of brings me to my next point of share it, don't tell it. You see, successful CAD standards are the ones that in the eyes of the users, they have a sense of ownership in. They need to feel like the standard is that of theirs or of the company's, not yours. And the surest way to get users to put up a wall between you and them is to tell them the way something should be done. Instead, you need to share how it should be done. And I know you might be thinking I'm sort of mincing words here, but to come back to the quote that started this whole video, leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it. On the other hand, telling or authority is the, really not art, but is getting someone else to do something you want done because you told them to do it. So those are my thoughts. I'm curious with this video what your thoughts are of ways that you can inspire your users, or more specifically, lead your users to follow standards that you implement. Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, if you liked this video, give me a big thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to this channel as well. It really helps me out as well. Until next time, for the CAD Geek, I'm Donnie Gladfelter. Thanks for watching. Take care.